Hello, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for listening in, for tuning in, for joining me on the Belfield Show. Welcome, everybody in YouTube land. This is the final step in our 5-point presentation, and I'm glad you made it. It's been some time, and it's been rough trying to get this in with everything that's going on in our country, everything that's going on in our world. This was really hard to pump out. The first week with Charlie Kirk, that's what this was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a 5-point presentation, but instead I chose to give him a beautiful send-off and some words and some ideas I had about our country and where it's headed. And I hope that everyone sees the silver lining in the cloud. I hope that everyone sees a way out. And with this plan here, this last presentation, this is actually your final way out. It is only still yet a first step, but it will be a way out of the rat race, a way out of dead-end jobs, a way out of paycheck to paycheck. And I believe that this plan will instill hope in you as it did me. First, let us start with prayer. Thank you for joining me. My name is Larry Belfield, and this is the Belfield Show. Thank you for joining me. My name is Larry Belfield. Lord, Heavenly Father, I would like to thank you, for keeping us, for blessing us, for strengthening us, for guiding us, for bringing us up together and allowing us to learn and be nourished by your word. Thank you for your time, for this meeting place. Please give us understanding, clarity, clairvoyance, and connection while we dive into your crucial word. Lord, I thank you for this opportunity and the chance to gain understanding of your word. In your name we pray, Lord Jesus. Amen. Okay. Today, we're working on a subject or a topic that is very near and true to my heart. It was one of the most highly illegal substances ever to hit American streets. It was once banned for being psychoactive, for being hate driving, a gateway drug that makes you lazy, gets in your way, and forces you to make bad decisions. This is all under the era of Jim Crow. What used to be considered one of the most dangerous and addictive substances known to man has hit scientists. With genetic research and science being at an all-time high, with men on the moon, with thousands of spacecraft that can land autonomously, scientists have delved into the herb to see its true nature. Now, what was once plagued by American labelism is now seeing its day in court, where the skepticisms, the hearsay, and the lies are put to rest. After careful deliberation and scientific research, the facts are clear that the medicinal properties alone, that the therapeutic properties, that the physical capabilities of this plant and the numerous products that come out of it is obvious. And the only reason that this once labeled hazardous plant was labeled bad was because of personal ventures and personal reasons that had nothing to do with the people, the state, this country, or even the world at large. For thousands of years, hemp and hemp products have been created, distributed, manufactured all around the globe. Once you understand the many facets of hemp and its many uses, you will understand the devastating effects it had on the people here when they were without it. It has nothing to do with what hemp is, with what hemp does, but it had everything to do with who controls hemp. In our world, there has been ceaseless fighting for eons over property, over value, over ego, over anger and hate. But the number one thing that wars have been fought over is resources. Man believes in his heart there isn't thousands and thousands of years of time left for this planet. The only time that man can foresee is the time left on his plate. And he wants to take today's plants, today's trees, and today's fruit and store them all away for himself. An undetermined amount of resources for an undetermined amount of time for man's termed life, his determined existence. It's become more evidently clear that the facets of our world are controlled by principles and principalities. And if we are to understand that in America, we have control of our legal system, we have full reign to do what we wish. It's called We the People for a reason, because we the people actually run and control the actual country. Your vote matters that much. In 2012, on the ballot in the United States, there was a bill presented to legalize the medicinal use of marijuana because scientists had proven its medical effects, and the people petitioned and voted to allow such a marred yet crucial element back into our society. The truth behind the history of hemp is so ugly, it's so vicious, that we really can't discuss it here. We know that the true reasons hemp was ever outlawed or banned was because the control of hemp and its possibilities to show dominance over people. We must remember that 150 years ago, our country was segregated, north to south, blacks and whites. And the white race made a lot of laws against black people, and black people made a lot of laws against white people. And this is where we stand today, in the history of a war of racism. Wondering why laws are so weird and deconstructive and foolish. Because the people were foolish. They had a civil war. They were murdering each other. And they created laws that still affect us today. Hundreds of years ago, we're still affected by wars. Still affected by bullets, gunfires that rang out 150 years ago. Hemp is an element in our environment that is so far-reaching, you will hardly find anything that is used without it. Now, just to name a few products: hemp seeds or hemp hearts, which are a great source of protein and healthy fats. Hemp oil, which is extracted from the seeds and is used in cooking and dressings. Hemp milk, a dairy-free milk alternative. Hemp protein powder, popular in smoothies and shakes. Hemp flour, used in baking. Hemp tea and other infused beverages. CBD oil, delivered from the plant's flowers and leaves for wellness purposes. Textiles and clothing, apparel, shirts, pants, dresses, are known for being durable and breathable. Jeans, made with hemp fabric as a sustainable alternative to cotton. Shoes and other footwear. Canvas and other heavy-duty shoes and fabrics. Military shoes. Rope and cordage, a traditional and strong use for hemp fibers. Bedding and towels. Bags and backpacks. Buildings and industrial materials. Listen to this. Hempcrete, a biocomposite material for construction that is lightweight and insulative. Insulation for buildings. Paper, that is stronger and more sustainable than wood pulp paper. Bioplastics, biofuel, personal care and home goods. They've got soap, body wash, lotion, other skincare products, shampoos, conditioners, candles, essential oils. Hemp wick, a natural alternative to butane lighters. There are over 25,000 industrial applications for hemp. The question is, why haven't we been using it before? The real answer is, we have been using it before. Just our country hasn't been involved with hemp because of its history and its war with itself. Our country was forced on cotton because they had no access to hemp. Other countries were well aware of what was happening here, and they refused to work with this country. That's why we had a shortage of goods, a shortage of working with England. Not because England wanted to take over, not because China wanted to take over, but because what was going on here. Slavery, civil war was taking place. Unrest was going from end to end of this country. So now that we have come to our senses, we're able to have commerce and open trade again with our partners abroad. Only in the mid-90s did we fully and completely connect with China and Europe and the Middle East. Now today, we are once again a global economy. And the main textile fabric isn't cotton, it's hemp. 90% of the world isn't using cotton. They're using hemp. It has many more uses. It produces more products. You can get fabric, oils, sugars, gasolines out of hemp, where cotton can only produce fabric. Now, the benefits far outweigh the risk. When dealing with hemp, it has too many uses. It's too versatile. It's too nutrient rich to ignore. We understand that hemp is the life force of many communities, not just to make smoke, but really it has so many uses as oils, medicines, teas, wood, and paper, and clothing. And the main use for hemp is rope and fabric, like really strong rope that you would use to hold a horseback, or you would use to hold the wind to a great ship, to tie down ships. It's very, very strong rope and fabric. See, today we have something new on our horizon. It's not new to the world. See, in 2012, the cannabis industry was initialized, starting with petitions and voting and a lot of advertising, people voted in the right to medically use cannabis. However, there are far many more uses than that. Hemp can provide so much more. It took so much more time to release the total use of hemp, which is where the real money is, where the real products are. So in 2018, the federal ban on hemp was lifted, unlocking its industrial potential. So now in truth, hemp has over 25,000 actual industrial applications. With this one plant, you are able to provide for many industries, thousands of industries, rope, clothing, shoes, the list goes on. And now, ever since there has been recorded history, it has been recorded on hemp paper. Some of the oldest documents are written on hemp paper. However, for America, in 2018 was when they first opened the doors to allow us to use hemp again. So you're taking a well over 25,000 year old industry that has been locked solid and has been keeping people and nations alive since the beginning of recorded history. So since the beginning of recorded history, there has been a foolproof business that went all the way around the world. However, in America, this industry is only 7 years old. Think about cotton gin, farmers, Levi's jeans, the Waltons, the Fords. In 100 years from now, they could be saying your name like that. With an industry like this, these industries are ran by tycoons because everyone needs clothes, needs socks, everyone needs fabric. It's the one thing that everybody needs, that you need to get more and more of, and then you can't stop buying clothing, shoes, hats, apparel, houses. This is everything wrapped into one crop. That's what this is. And it's only 7 years old. A brand new business that has been going on for more than we have recorded history for. And now in America, it's brand new. We don't have one machine here that can handle the simple transformation of breaking down the basic components we need. This is the whole hemp industry today. It is a brand new egg ready to be cracked. Nobody even understands the weight of what is about to happen. Being off of cotton and going to hemp means there's going to be a plethora of new products to come out cheaper, faster, and more durable. Better and more safer than what we've been used to, than what we've been using. Petroleum-based products. We're about to start using hemp-based products. They're softer and more better on your children and babies. Now think about what you'd rather have your fabric made from. From plastics, from fossil fuels, which are dug out of the ground, or would you rather have them made out of the plant, which is healthier for your skin, which is healthier for your body? Now, the industries that make the product that hemp can replace need hemp in its raw form so that they can turn their products they can use it to make their products that they have already. Products like Vaseline, baby oil. You can turn hemp into oils. Instead of Vaseline or petroleum jelly, you have hemp jelly. Okay? They come from plants rather than coming from fossil fuels. See, it's a good move to have options on our store shelves. what major companies need today is to break hemp down into a few basic parts. Okay? Now you have the outer core, which can be turned into fiber like fabrics and threads, ropes, strings. Then you have the inner core, which is hard like wood, which can be compacted and broken down into further smaller chunks of wood like sawdust and can be used as insulation, bedding, or it can be used to be broken down into chips. And they're able to throw resin and glue and turn it into really durable lumber. Okay? Now, most factories need the hemp broken down into 5 basic categories. Okay? First is the inner and the outer core. Then it is cleaned or uncleaned. And then it is the size of the wooden core of the inside. First you have chips, then you have smaller little grains, and then you have dust, which all can be used to create products. So you have the outer core, which could be spun into fabrics, shoes, and clothing, and then the inner core could be transformed into several wooden products. Now, decortication is where the inner core is removed from the outer core. This breaks away the inner wooden rod away from the outer fibrous skin of the plant. This machine is called a decorder. It breaks the plant down into 2 parts, inside and outside. Then you have this other big machine, which is called a baler. Okay? See, we don't actually have a decorder machine in America. These machines are meant to do hay. Okay? They're able to push through these sieves. Okay? Like so. And when they do, it breaks it down into the small grains that we need, into the different categories. The smaller the hole in the sieve, the smaller the portion of hemp. Okay, so the big holes are for the outer, for the fibrous, and then the inner core, and the smaller sieves are for the wooden parts, so we can break it down into several sizes. Okay. It breaks it down into smaller and smaller grains. Okay, and the smaller the grain, the more industries that it can go into. Now these small ones are for bedding for horses. It's tiny fiber for insulation and for houses, and the chunks are made for wood lumber. Okay, now what we need to do is understand how much can you make, and where do you come in this deal? The industry calls for these types of people that can take the raw hemp, either grow it or break it down into these 5 categories. Now it's very simple. You take the hemp, you put it into your machine, it goes in as hemp, but it comes out as these 5 categories. Now Hemp Train has created a system where that you put the hemp in one end, and on the other end it comes out at these dump centers, and it breaks down at the beginning, and the big chunks come out first, and the small chunks come out at the end. Now the hemp travels down these tubes and gets smaller and smaller and smaller until everything is packed into these giant grain bags. Okay, now that you have full bags of grain, let's talk numbers. Before we get into the numbers, we have to look into this machine and break it down. This machine looks like a giant maze that you walk into, but really, if you take a look here at the middle of these presentations, you'll see something in between every single machine, and that's this giant electrical motor. This electrical motor runs a hammer. And remember the sieves I told you? The hammer and the sieves go together. So when you throw in the hemp, these hammers mash up the hemp and it forces it through the sieves. So basically, this is meant for hay, but a decorder and a hemp processor machine is actually very small to do hemp. But since we haven't been doing hemp here, this is pretty much the only machine that we have. It makes a lot, but you don't need to go this big. You can do the same job and probably make the same amount of money with a modest setup. Okay. Now let's talk numbers. It's math time. Math time, math time, math time, math time. Baby, it's math time, math time. All right. Now it's time for a little math. Now Johnny has 2 apples, and I give him 4 more apples. How many? No, okay. Okay. I'll just do the hemp train power plant. Okay, now the hemp train power plant cost a pretty penny, but we have to break down the amount of what it can produce. And once you realize what it can make, okay, the cost of the machine becomes nominal. Okay. Now, this hemp train power plant can produce 3,500 pounds an hour. Okay, which is, it's like almost 2 tons. It's like 1 3/4 ton. Okay, in 500 pounds, that'll be 2 tons. Okay, 2 tons per hour. All right, so the hemp train can produce 3,500 pounds of processed hemp every hour. Okay. Now, what you want to know right now is how many machines does it take to make $1 million? All right. Let's figure out how many machines it would take to make $1 million. Okay. What you need to learn is the tonnage. Now, if you're doing almost 2 tons an hour, and this machine is meant to run 24/7 like a newspaper machine or a paper machine or a cloth machine. See, it keeps running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you keep crews around the clock. The machine is a block long, and it takes more time to shut it off than it does to cut it on. So these machines run daily, and they run forever. Okay, they run in succession with other machines. So you don't just run one. You put 4 and 5 of them next together so that you can get the tonnage that you're seeking. Okay? The hemp train system is a pretty penny, but when you realize the benefit, the cost really doesn't matter. Okay, now you need to understand the cost. What can you make with the many facets of hemp once you break it down to these 5 categories? Okay? Now, raw hemp plant that has just been freshly gathered is about 25 cents a pound. Okay? Decorded hemp fiber, which means you have removed the inner core from the outer core, it's worth about $4 a pound. Okay? But the fiber, when it's freshly taken, is about $10 a pound. Okay? So the outer core is about $10 a pound. Okay? So taking the fibers and cleaning them, you get a couple more bucks, which you have clean, degummed, or sliver. Okay, so once you've removed the outer core, you'll have these fibers. Now, if you just clean them, you'll have clean fiber. That's worth like 10, 15 bucks. But if you take out the gum, which there's a lot of liquid and there's a lot of byproduct, and you take it out and you make it dry. Basically, you take out everything that's in it, and it's nice and clean and dry, and it's like hair, but it's like the hair of a wombat or a moose. Okay, it's really dark brown, and it's very, very stiff. Okay, and scratchy. Now, what you can do is you can now spin that dried hair and turn it into sliver. Sliver is what they use to make rope, clothing, fabrics, textiles. Okay, this is very clean and spun, okay, decorded hemp fiber. This is $45 a pound. Okay, so if you're actually paying attention and listening to these numbers, we're taking something that costs 25 cents a pound, and you're turning it into something that costs $45 a pound. Let me reiterate that again. You're taking something raw hemp plant is 25 cents a pound. To decord it, to take the inside from the outside, is $5 a pound. That's the inner core is $4 a pound. The outer fiber is $10 a pound. Now, if you clean it, it's around $20 a pound. Now, if you spin it into sliver, it's worth $45 a pound. Most people buy it with it gummed up and dirty, and then they'll just clean it and turn it into sliver. Now, you need to understand that you don't need to do all of these steps. You can just do one step. That's the beauty of it. You can just decord it and send the outside and the inside to two different places, and then they can handle the rest. Most people just cut it into the 5 portions and then just sip it out as soon as they've done that. That's really all people need. You can do it all, or you can do just one and still make good money. Okay? Now, in America, we don't have the facilities or tools to handle the hemp in such a way. However, this industry is thousands and thousands of years old. So China, which is our main manufacturer and producer anyway, has all the equipment that you would ever need to do hemp. Okay? Hemp Train is a one-stop shop. They have everything that you need. Okay, it's one complete system that allows you to throw the hemp in and you get what you want on the other side. However, if you can't afford the Hemp Train system, there are alternatives. In fact, there are private companies that are better and stronger than Hemp Train. Now let me show you. Okay, with the advent of technology and the turn of the century, now everything is electrically motorized, believe it or not. With the tools of today, we can create the product of tomorrow. Now look at a few of these tools, and you can see that you don't have to go big. And in China, in fact, the machines are very small. 4 to 10 of these machines can do just the same amount as a Hemp Train system. Except these machines are specifically tailored. This machine just separates it, and then this machine turns it into sliver. Okay? So these machines are far cheaper, far cost effective, and they'll be done and installed in your factory within the matter of weeks, where the Hemp Train system probably takes a couple of months. Now, not only are there more, okay, listen. Now we have to look at it on the farmer side. Okay? There's a third side of this business. Besides taking raw fiber and selling it off to the highest bidder, or cleaning it and then selling it, how much can you really make? And how much does it cost to produce hemp? To produce the hemp that we need? Now, on an average acre of land, okay, I have a few pictures up here. Hopefully I can show them to you. On an average acre of land, you can produce 1 million plants. Okay? When you're planting hemp, you don't make rows like corn. You don't make rows like cotton. You just throw it out there, as many seeds as you can. It grows dense and thick like bamboo. Okay? Not only are there more plants per acre with hemp, the way that you farm it is easier and faster. So you don't stand and pick up anything. You don't separate nothing. What you do is you mow down the entire crop, and you throw the entire crop into the machine. That's it. Okay, the only thing you have to do is wait for it to dry. All the work is done. That's the difference between cotton and hemp. There's so much more processing that you have to do. You have to get the seeds out. You can't use the sticks or the stems or the plant. You have to just remove the cotton from the plant while it's still in the ground. You can't remove the plant. Okay? With hemp, you plant it at the beginning and then you cut the whole thing down at the end. There is no saving, there is no work, there is no picking apart. It all goes in. Okay? Okay, now, furthermore, farmers have been able to produce and manipulate their plants to be thicker and taller. And they have been able to genetically enhance the plant with great success, making it as tall and as thick as they want. Now farmers are actually reducing the size and thickness reducing the size and thickness so that it is more manageable to work in their machines. They can make it thicker, but it's easier to work with it at the size that they prefer. Okay? The money is just as good, and the difference the difference in money isn't much. Okay? And they're able to grow sustainably. They're able to make substantial changes with the amount of money they make by, manipulating the growth of their plant, giving it more or less food, or giving it more or less daylight. Okay? Now, it's hard to do with any other crop. Okay, now let's actually sit down and calculate what we can possibly make with this system. Now, if you're talking about 25 cents per pound, and when you're done with it, it's going to go for $45 a pound when it comes out. Now all you need to know is how many pounds can you produce. Now, if we do the simple math here, okay, and take the amount that our machine can produce, okay, we'll have our figures. Now, at 25 cents per pound and 2,000 pounds per ton, okay, it cost us $500 a ton. Okay. Now, the maximum amount we can get is $45 a pound. And our machine can make 3,500 pounds an hour. Our machine will be capable of producing $157,000 an hour. That's 3,500 times 45. For anyone that wants to go ahead and do the math, is $157,500. Okay? Per ton and 3/4 of hemp. Understand? Now let me take you to the final calculation of math time. If you understand and remember how these machines run, how these textile factories and these industrial powerhouses run, they do not stop running. Unless there's a problem, unless you run out of hay or the machine has a problem, the machines run in succession with other machines. And they run 24 hours of the day. The machine that makes rope, string, yarn, linen, they just keep making it 24 hours a day. Okay? And they keep making it because that's the type of industry this is. You need fabric. Everyone needs the fabric. Okay? For t-shirts, for shoes, for clothing. Okay. I almost gave you a figure that I haven't calculated yet. Excuse me. Okay, now let's make the final calculation. If you take $157,000 and multiply it by a 24-hour period, you are going to get this figure, $3.7 million. Okay? It should be $780,000. Okay? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. With one machine, it has the capability of making $3.7 million every 24 hours. This is how the rich stay rich. By getting into textiles. This is early. Okay? When they started 100 years ago, and years later, people are still using your fabrics, walking into your stores because of the machines you put into a building. The only reason we use Levi's jeans today Because 100 years ago, somebody put those machines into buildings to do the job. And if there's nothing better, that's fine. We have nothing better. We'll just go and get Levi's. But now you see, with the hemp industry being unlocked, we have an entirely new element, a new raw resource to use. Now, I went further and looked up a few numbers of our competition. Okay? Now, our number one jeans competition would be Levi's, of course. Now, people don't like competition, all right? And other companies don't like their businesses to be, in the danger zone. But what we're saying is we're not taking away other people's businesses. We're going to a place like Levi's and telling them that I have a raw resource that's less than half the cost of the products that you're using today. See, then you go to the people that is growing their products, and then you tell them, hey, I've got a product that can make 10 times the amount of the product that you're using right now. See, we have something that is not replacing the companies, but we're swapping out the materials that they're used to make their products. Not just with jeans or with the jean maker, but with the farmer that grows it, and the distributor and the processor. They can all switch over to hemp. See, you're on everybody's side. What you thought would be competition is really a growth opportunity for everyone to have enormous gains. Now, I'm using Levi's jeans as a standard because the number of jeans, they're the number one jean producer that I could think of, okay? Now, they reported how many jeans they made and how much money they made in the year 2020, which was close to $4.5 billion. And with an average price tag of $55 on the price of jeans, that's close to 80 million pairs of jeans. And they say that they put 2 pounds of cotton in each pair of jeans, which means they sold on average 160 million pounds of cotton. Now, with one of these machines that can produce 1.5 tons an hour, that's about 36 tons a day, which equates to 13,000 tons per year, where Levi's produces over 80,000 tons. Okay, the last time our leading company makes 160 million pounds, which is over 80,000 tons. Now, our machine has the ability to produce 30 million pounds, which is 13,000 pounds. See, which doesn't hold a candle. But when you realize that these machines work in succession together as one, you can quickly equal the amount of Levi Strauss, whatever they sold in 2020. Now, I know that you're thinking, oh, that's too many jeans. If they sold all those jeans and they have all those customers, how am I going to fit in? You must understand that we're not selling jeans. We're selling the materials to produce jeans. Okay? So all of these companies that are rich, that are on top, one of the top producing companies, we can switch out a lot of their petroleum-based products, a lot of their sugary products, a lot of their oily products can be changed with the material that we're offering. Now, with hemp being medically legal for several years before the decortication process, we have stockpiles of it waiting to be processed. And furthermore, hemp is mostly grown indoors, which means year-round crops. Outdoor hemp has a gestation period of 90 days, okay, in just 3 months. So you can already get 2, maybe 3 crops every season. With opportunities like this and having the ability to do things of this size, grant you a certain responsibility to help those in need, to help those that can't afford to do this, to be on their side and love the people that can't find a way. It's just one simple strategy, my first billionaire strategy. If you get 6 or 7 men investors together, you should be able to pull off a dream like this. You should be able to start your own city, start your own world. With this idea, hemp, you should be able to finally be free. There is much more to discuss and much more to go on. But that's all for this episode on the Belfield Show. I would sincerely like to thank you for joining me and listening to my idea on textile industry. Hemp, a brand new industry that is thousands of years old. I also have a presentation in the link. Hopefully it'll be in the link. I've been having trouble posting these things for you guys because it took so much work to build them and make them, to actually get them out to you. There's a little hiccup. But I would like to thank you for joining me. I would like to thank you for understanding and listening to this 5-point presentation that I believe is going to change you, change the world. Please join me in prayer as we close out this episode. This evening, Lord, I would like to thank you for keeping us, for blessing us, for guiding us, for strengthening us, and allowing us to come here and hear your word, allowing us to understand, to comprehend, to connect, to be in harmony, to learn and grow in your wisdom and in your word. Lord, I thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart. Amen. Thank you. That's all for this episode on the Belfield Show. See me next time, and we will further get into the word.